It started with a flickering light in the office, barely noticeable at first. Just a minor distraction in the corner of the ceiling. A soft, erratic blink above desk 47. No one paid it much attention. After all, who has time to notice a flickering bulb when you're chasing deadlines, answering emails at 2 a.m., and skipping meals to impress bosses who only see numbers? But that flicker would be the first sign, the first warning, and Alex missed it entirely. For Alex Mera, the grind wasn't just a routine, it was religion. He was the type of man who walked into the office before sunrise and didn't leave until the moon had already climbed over the skyline. The kind who thought sleep was a weakness and rest was for people who didn't want success badly enough. His motto? Hard work never fails. He even had it printed on a coffee mug, the one his wife, Mira, gave him on their 4th anniversary. That was before she stopped waiting up for him at night. Alex was 34, a rising star in one of the top consulting firms in the city. He wore ambition like armor, buttoned up in crisp suits and calculated smiles. People admired his hustle. He's going places. They'd whisper during late meetings. But behind the admiration lurked a quiet pity. Because while Alex was conquering spreadsheets and boardrooms, something else was quietly being conquered, his life. The first real warning came one Thursday evening, just past 10 p.m., when he leaned back in his chair and reached for his temples. A sharp pain shot down his neck like a lightning strike, and for a moment, his vision blurred. Just stress, he told himself. Just tired. He grabbed another espresso from the office machine, blinked the dizziness away, and went back to his screen. But that night, something strange happened. As he typed the final line of a quarterly report, he heard it, a soft whisper, barely audible, not from the hallway, not from the vents, from somewhere closer. It was his name. Alex. He froze, fingers hovering midair. Silence. He turned, but the office was empty, just rows of lifeless desks and the dull hum of machines. The fluorescent lights flickered again. He laughed it off. Too much caffeine. Not enough sleep. He shook it from his mind like shaking rain off an umbrella. But deep down, something felt off. The next day, he mentioned the whisper to no one. What would he even say? That he was hearing voices in the office? No, that would jeopardize everything. He was in line for a promotion, the big one, partner track. He couldn't afford weakness, real or imagined, but the whispers returned. Every night after 9 p.m., when most employees had gone home and the world outside had slowed, the whispers would come. Sometimes soft, sometimes frantic, always saying the same thing. You forgot. At first, he tried to ignore it. Headphones in, volume up. But the voices seeped through the music, like water through a crack. You forgot. Then came the dreams. In them, Alex would wander the empty office halls, fluorescent lights above him buzzing louder than usual. He'd find the desks all occupied, not by his co-workers, but by copies of himself. Each one with sunken eyes, hunchbacks, and bloodied fingers typing endlessly. Their voices would rise in unison, echoing against the walls. You forgot. You forgot. You forgot. He'd wake up gasping for air, the imprint of the dream etched deep into his chest. Still, he said nothing. But Mira noticed. Alex, you're fading, she said one morning, her voice soft but urgent. You don't laugh anymore. You don't sleep. You haven't eaten a proper meal in days. What are you chasing? He snapped at her, without meaning to. Something about ambition, about how she didn't understand what it took to succeed, about sacrifice. She didn't argue. She just looked at him with quiet sadness, the kind that comes when someone sees a person they love slowly disappear behind a mask of obsession. That weekend, Alex came into work again, despite a company-wide holiday. The office was darker than usual, empty still, but he liked it that way. Fewer distractions, more time to grind. But that night, something changed. As he worked on a presentation for a high-stakes client, the whispers didn't wait till 9 p.m. They started early, louder, more urgent. You forgot? He spun around in his chair. Who's there? Nothing. Just the same sterile silence. Only now, The flickering light above desk 47 had gone out completely. Then he heard footsteps, slow, dragging. Alex stood up, heart pounding. The sound came from a far end of the hallway, near the executive lounge. He crept forward, each step echoing too loudly against the marble floors. As he turned the corner, he stopped dead. There, in the lounge, stood a figure, back turned, motionless. Alex swallowed. "Hello." The figure didn't move. Alex took a hesitant step forward. "Who are you?" This time, the figure turned slowly. It was him, but older, more gaunt, with bloodshot eyes and skin pale as paper. The figure spoke in a voice that sounded like shattered glass. "You forgot what mattered." Alex stumbled backward. "This is a dream. This isn't real." The figure took a step forward, finger pointing accusingly. "You gave everything to the grind. But what did it give you back?" Alex turned and ran. Down the corridor, past the cubicles, past the broken vending machine and the HR posters about mental wellness. He burst into his office and slammed the door shut, breathing heavily. He backed into his desk. His mug, the one Mira gave him, fell and shattered on the ground. And that's when he saw it. On his computer screen, where the report had been moments ago, was a slideshow of his life. Pictures of Mira, his parents, his dog, Rocky, who died while Alex was working late. Moments he had missed. Birthdays, anniversaries. Even a text message he never replied to. "I miss you. Can we talk?" Sent by his younger brother 6 months before his accident. Alex sank to the floor. The whispers were no longer whispers. They were screams now. "You forgot. You forgot who you were, who you loved, what made you human." Tears welled in his eyes. He clutched his head and screamed back. "I didn't mean to. I just wanted to succeed." And in the silence that followed the reply, "Success means nothing if your soul is empty." The lights in the office flickered once more, then went out. The next morning, security found Alex asleep in his office chair, pale and shaken, surrounded by broken glass. They asked him what happened. He didn't answer, just picked up the photo of Mira that had fallen from his drawer and walked out of the building, without his laptop. For the first time in 10 years, Alex didn't show up to work the next day, or the day after. His colleagues were shocked. He was unstoppable, they whispered. What happened? What happened was this. Alex finally understood. He had built a kingdom with empty walls, climbed a ladder that led to nowhere, collected achievements like trophies on a shelf, while his real treasures, his memories, his relationships, his health, gathered dust in a forgotten corner of his life. And now he had a choice, to keep grinding or to start living. The sun was rising gently over the city skyline, casting long amber streaks across the rooftops. The streets buzzed with familiar energy, honking cars, hurried footsteps, half-awake commuters. But for Alex Mera, it all felt brand new. For the first time in a decade, he wasn't part of the race. No briefcase, no laptop, no calls, no deadlines, just silence. And silence, to a man like Alex, had always been terrifying. But now it felt necessary. He sat on a park bench that morning with a coffee. He didn't gulp while scrolling through emails. He sipped it slowly, watching the world move around him. Kids were playing. A street musician strummed a soft tune on a worn guitar. Couples walked hand in hand, sharing secrets in low tones. And in all of it, he saw what he'd been missing. Mira hadn't spoken to him in 4 days. Not since he left the office that night. He tried calling her once, then again. But something told him that this was more than a missed call. This was a reckoning. He had become a stranger, not just to her, but to himself. Later that day, he drove to his parents' home, somewhere he hadn't been in months. The house still had that warm, musty scent of familiarity. His mother opened the door and stared at him for a long moment. Then she pulled him into a hug so tight, so fierce, it nearly broke him. "We thought you'd forgotten us," she whispered. "I did," Alex replied, voice cracking. "But I'm here now, if that count for anything." It did. He stayed there the night, without opening a single spreadsheet. And in the stillness of his childhood room, He found a faded photo tucked inside a drawer, one of him and his younger brother, Vikram, at a cricket match. The caption on the back said, "Best day of our lives." Alex remembered the text, the one he never replied to. "I miss you. Can we talk?" And just like that, the memory stabbed deep. Vikram had been in a rough patch, lost his job, battled depression. And while everyone tried to reach out, Alex was always too busy. Meetings, presentations, strategy decks. His little brother died in an accident not long after. Some said it was just bad luck, but Alex knew better. He had been absent, physically alive, emotionally gone. The weight of it pressed down like a mountain. His chest tightened, and for the first time in years, he let the tears fall, not the silent ones, the kind that gutted you, the kind that cleansed you. The following week, Alex took a sabbatical. His company was stunned. "You're our top performer," they said. "This is a crucial quarter. We need you." But Alex had made his choice. "I need me more," he replied. He turned off his phone, deleted work apps, unsubscribed from industry newsletters that once defined his mornings. And for the first time in a long time, he went nowhere, and it was beautiful. But healing wasn't instant. It came in quiet, often painful waves. Sometimes it was Myra's silence on the other end of the phone. Sometimes it was walking past his office building and feeling the itch to run back, to be useful again. Sometimes it was the guilt, heavy, unrelenting, reminding him of all the moments he could never get back. But slowly, painfully, he began to rebuild, not his resume, his humanity. He started by volunteering at a mental health center, honoring Vikram's memory, talking to young men who were exactly where his brother had once been. Some had given up. Others were still clinging to hope. But in their stories, Alex found fragments of himself. He listened. He shared. He healed. He also began journaling, a habit he had mocked once, but it became his mirror. In those pages, he poured his regrets, his realizations, his fears, and slowly his forgiveness. One evening, while walking near the lake, he ran into Mira. She looked surprised, uncertain, but she didn't walk away. "Hey," he said softly. "Hey," she replied cautiously. He invited her for coffee. She agreed, over mugs of warm cappuccino. They sat in silence before he finally spoke. "I was drowning, Mira, and I didn't even know it. I kept chasing things that didn't matter. And in the process, I lost you. I lost me." She stared into her cup, her eyes glistening. "You don't get to say sorry and expect everything to be okay." "I know," he said. "I'm not asking for that. I just want to be someone who deserves another chance. Someday." She looked at him for a long time. Then, softly, she said, "Let's see." And that was more than enough. Months passed. Alex didn't go back to his old firm. Instead, he started something new, a consultancy that focused on mental wellness in corporate spaces, not just on boosting productivity, but protecting people from burning out the way he had. He called it Human First. It was ironic. He had spent years helping companies squeeze more out of their people. Now, he was teaching them how to give back. His story became a keynote speech at leadership summits. He told executives about the dangers of glamorizing burnout, about the price of neglecting relationships, about listening to the whispers before they became screams. Some laughed, some clapped, but a few wiped tears, because they knew they were there too. One winter night, as snow blanketed the streets and warm lights glowed in cozy homes, Alex sat by the fireplace in his small apartment. Mira was beside him, reading a book. Her hand rested on his. No words were needed. On the mantel sat two pictures. One, him and Vikram, smiling under the summer sun. The other, his wedding photo with Mira from years ago. Both were reminders of what he lost, of what he chose to reclaim, and of one truth that echoed louder than any boardroom cheer or promotion email ever could. Success is meaningless if it comes at the cost of your soul. Conclusion. In the quiet moments of our lives, we often hear it. The faint, haunting whisper of something we've forgotten. The sound of a life unlived, of a family neglected, of a spirit overworked and undernourished. and we bury it. We drown in emails, in late nights, in promotions, in applause, until it's too loud to ignore. Alex Mara's story is not just fiction. It's a mirror, a warning, a wake-up call, because one day we all must ask ourselves, what are we working for? And if the answer is everything that doesn't matter, then maybe, just maybe, it's time to remember what we forgot.